Live in Nashville, Tennessee. You are listening to the Nashville Daily Podcast. Nashville's #1 daily podcast. Brought to you by Think Nashville. Think Nashville. Think Brad. Think Brad. It's Nashville Daily Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Nashville Daily Podcast. I'm Stuart Deming, and today is episode 1000. Joining me in studio this morning is Mr. Aaron Pennington himself, and our
episode
guest.
1,000.
It's insane. We have done 1,000 episodes of this show.
That is absolutely mind blowing. And here today on episode 1,000 is a man who has created a product so good that we can't stay away. That is Shane Nasby of Cledis Burgers and Beer Garden. Shane, welcome to episode 1,000.
Well, thanks for having me, neighbors.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
we are like neighbors.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Won't you
Maybe
be
like my
neighbor?
You're like 2 minutes away from our studio, so we eat at your restaurant the most because you're so close.
All the time. Like, someone came in the other day and was like, man, they talk about you guys. And they was like, how much are you paying them? I was like, I'm not paying them anything. I said, we're neighbors and we see them like every day. So we're grateful for the support.
It's either come to Cledis or go to Oscars. And then
Yeah.
occasionally, very, very occasionally, we go to the Lost Patty. Have you been? It's an Irish pub over here.
Yes, the fish and chips and a Guinness, man,
The
they
fish
crush
sticks
it.
are fantastic.
So good.
They're my favorite in town.
Yeah, they're very good.
Today's episode is brought to you by thinkbrad.com. If you are looking for real estate here in Nashville, make sure to text them at 615-856-3270. He represents all of the Middle Tennessee area, so if you're looking for real estate, call him now. Shane, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
You opened Cledis in fall of 2022.
Yeah.
What was that experience like opening a new restaurant at the end of the pandemic and transitioning into an area where you had a restaurant in West Nashville and now you have a restaurant in Southeast Nashville?
You know, I still feel like I am opening it. Like, it's been a few months, but like I still feel like I'm in the thick of it and in the weeds, if you will, of opening and birthing something. I think too, because we opened and we had like a couple weeks of really good weather towards the end of October, and we had the beer garden open, and we were rocking and rolling, and the beer garden was shoulder to shoulder. I think you might have came to the grand opening night. And
Oh, it was amazing. There was like, what, maybe 150, maybe 200 people there?
there were so many people there,
I
and
have
it was
no
awesome.
idea where they parked.
I don't either, but where there's a will, there's a way.
That's
so.
true.
But yeah, so we had a couple amazing weeks, and then we woke up on a Friday and it was like 30 degrees outside, and this is like, oh my gosh. So for the first time, like for the first 2 weeks, nobody sat inside. Like 100% of people were sitting outside in the beer garden and enjoying lunch, and then we were forced to, on a Friday of all days, to we don't have a huge dining area inside, and so we had to really adjust. Like, I ran to Home Depot and like bought heaters, like outdoor heaters. I was like, okay, if we move it in here. And so we didn't really transition into winter. It just kind of hit us like a truck, you know? So we had to adjust on the fly. So it's been an adjustment, but it's also been fun. Yeah.
In what aspects has it been fun with opening a new restaurant?
You know, I think meeting new people, with us being here on Elm Hill Pike, it's kind of a new neighborhood. You develop the relationships. It's always going to be about the relationships and the people. I mean, that's the reason that we do what we do. And so many regulars. And I love this area because it's predominantly a blue-collar area. I think one day we went outside and it was nothing but like pickup trucks and then there was one day my wife Angela was just like, I think everybody in here has a button-up shirt with their name on their shirt, and I love that because those are my people. You know, it's just that blue collar, and just come in and grab a burger and a beer and go back to work. And so we've developed so many relationships. So that, I think, the relational aspect has been the most fun.
I want to talk about the concept of Cledis, and then we'll get to something I think you've done pretty incredible with opening. Probably not many people of a restaurant do this like as soon as they open, but the concept of Cledis with smash burgers and the beer garden and so many local beers on tap, which we saw even in the development with your all social media early. You were very intentional on like letting people know what you were about. Tell us about the concept of smash burgers and what you think that concept has brought to you and the restaurant for opening it. Tell us about the development of that.
Well, I think you got to do what you love. There's no shortage of burgers in Nashville, some really fantastic joints. And then there's, it's like pizza, barbecue. Like there's some legitimate spots in town, and we're not coming in like, oh, we got to be the best. We just want to have fun and be in the conversation and just be one of many. There's so many burger places that I like in town, but like for us, I got into barbecue in the past because I loved it, and I've had a Blackstone for a few years, and I freaking love smash burgers.
Blackstone in the pandemic, they were one of the companies that came out on top.
Oh my gosh, man.
that and Zoom, and then Zoom's lost all their stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Blackstone, I can't tell you how many people bought a Blackstone grill and just
that and Traegers, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh man, but no, I love it. Like burgers, were just probably my favorite food of all time, and a good smash burger with a buttery bark, and you double that thing up, and then my MO in the past has just been coming up with crazy fun sandwiches, and you don't neglect the traditional stuff because that's always going to be your best seller, your traditional classic burgers, but at the same time you want to try to be creative and inventive and create your own lane and your own alley, and we feel like we've done that with this spot. So.
Well, I feel like you've made one of our favorite burgers in town, and that is your Skippy Taille burger.
Yeah.
And tell us about the development of that one.
So a lot of places do peanut butter on a burger. That's not new. In fact, we were doing that. One of my first jobs was down here on Donaldson Pike in like 2000. After I was at Hard Rock, which was on Broadway, I transitioned and I was working here in Donaldson at Ruby Tuesdays, and it wasn't on the menu, but like that was our favorite burger. Like a whole kitchen staff and everybody was putting.
That was like the secret menu behind the.
Oh man, because we would get bored with the regular menu, so we were coming up with like the peanut butter burger, and like this was 23 years ago, so this wasn't a new concept. So
Ruby's Tuesdays menu is not that good.
It's all about the salad bar at Ruby Tuesday, right?
That's exactly. I worked at Ruby Tuesdays for a little while too. It was the job I worked for a month, and then I quit because it was awful.
Well, yeah, times have changed. It's definitely not even open anymore over here on Donaldson Pike, but
that's becoming a hotel. Did you know that?
Is it really?
Yeah. So that whole area, that whole plaza. Did you ever go to Sub Depot? It was a sub restaurant right next to Ruby Tuesdays, and they would steam their subs. Loved that place, and they closed about 2.5 years ago. But that area has been planned for a huge mixed-use development in the hotel for about 5 years. And they still have not done anything.
It's very slow.
It's very slow. So like it seems like everything in Donaldson, besides like the interstate stuff, is it just happens really slowly.
I gotcha. Yeah. So it's it's the burgers they're just fun, and we had fun with it, and with us taking over a brewery. Which was Various Artists Brewery. Jeff is now my landlord now, and developed a good friendship with him. And like there's so many people who are just like, man, we used to come here all the time when it was Various Artists. So we wanted to make sure that the beer list was strong. I mean, we've got a beautiful beer garden. We have to, and so we doubled the tap. I think we had 12 when we got there, so we added 12 more. Wow. So we have 24 beers on, and 20 of them are always going to be local Tennessee beers. Craft beers, so we really wanted to highlight the beers and the burgers. So
I think one thing that's really interesting about Cledis that separates you guys from other burger restaurants is you have a mission that's really important to you and to your family. Could you talk more about that mission and what separates you from other burger restaurants here in town?
That's the whole reason we created this restaurant. So coming out of the pandemic and with the previous restaurant, I didn't necessarily want to open another restaurant because that was so exhausting, and it was anyone who owned a restaurant during the pandemic will tell you like it was draining process. So to come right out of that and to be like, I want to do it again, like the thought process is like, no, we almost started a nonprofit because we've been volunteering with People Loving Nashville for so long and just providing meals to the unhoused, and for years we've just been part of that mission. And, so we were like, well, maybe we should do our own thing and rally restaurants to just kind of help feed, the hungry. But ultimately it just made more sense to just open a little burger joint and with a mission and, build the entire concept on that mission. Like it first and foremost, like if that mission ever leaves, then I don't really have any desire to just run a burger joint. Like the mission to feed and serve our friends on the streets who just need a meal. you know, and once you get to know them and you develop those relationships and you're consistent with it, then the idea of, you know, just, you know, not having that is, I don't know, it will never happen with us. We're mission focused, and that is ultimately why we exist. So
yeah, and because I know you've talked about, like, I just think it's cool because I feel like some places could wait, you know, maybe after year 5, you know, okay, cool, we'll start looking into that. But that was day 1 that you guys did that, and you know, no holding back. That's like you know, the first thing that you do is do that, and then you run your burger business. It was just really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's giving out of an abundance. We don't want to give out of an abundance. We want to give first and foremost. Like, if it truly is your mission and it truly is the number one thing on your list, you're not going to wait until you have, we have an overflow, let's give out of that. You know, it's first and foremost, like, we're going to do it even when it hurts, and because that really is the rock in which we're building this whole restaurant on.
What's been the most frustrating thing for you opening a restaurant in the last few months?
Oh man, most frustrating thing. You know, I think figuring out staffing and labor, especially because when you open a new concept, especially, you have to put your best foot forward, and you have to plan for a lot of people to come in so you can give excellent service and deliver an excellent product. But you'll have days where it's like you've got 6 or 7 people on staff and there's nothing to do. And then those days start to stack up, especially in the winter and in January. And so, you know, you start with 20, 30 people on staff, and then you're just like, holy cow. So you hire people, and then you just have to be like, cut hours. And so that was another big challenge of opening when we did, because we opened right before you go into your slow season. But we had a few weeks where we had to be fully staffed. And so it's staffing, I think most people will tell you, is always going to be the biggest challenge in the restaurant industry. Well, in a place like Nashville, because it's so competitive.
Yeah. Was there something that you feel like you had a you know, not necessarily competitive advantage over, but, you know, being in the restaurant world for that long and knowing how to operate? What was one thing that you felt like you could come out of the gate strong with that maybe a new restaurant owner is like, they're going to have a hard time figuring out the first time, but you're like, no, I know that this is going to go well because I really learned how to do this before.
Well, through the pandemic, one thing that I learned is, like, so when we created this menu and we created the prep list and all of the things that goes into just getting the burger out the door to the customer.
Yeah.
You know, like at my previous spot, like, I had a mountain of a prep list. Everything was just, and so this menu, we wanted it to be creative. We wanted it to be excellent, but we also wanted it to be really easy to execute, because there are many days where it might just be me and my wife rolling in and being like, okay, I don't need 500 things to do before I can ever even open the doors.
Yeah.
I need 1 or 2 or 3, be like, okay, I need to slice tomatoes, I need to slice onions, and then, but, you know, so I think, and I learned that lesson the hard way, you know, having a big prep list, like, if I just need to grab a buddy and just, so I think keeping the process simple, keeping your menu simple, will allow you to execute at a high level, even if you are short-staffed. And I think I learned that lesson the hard way. So that's definitely one thing that I carried over.
One thing that is on my prep list every day is to prep for my coffee needs in the morning, because my coffee needs are very, very large and extravagant. So I always have with me Blessed Day coffee. And so if you are looking for some of the most fresh and sustainable coffee here in Nashville, check out blesseddaycoffee.com. Use the discount code XBLR20 at checkout for 20% off. They are truly some of the most fresh and sustainable blends here in the Middle Tennessee area. You can also get free delivery if you're in the Nashville area. Check out blesseddaycoffee.com. All right, we're not used to doing ad reads in the middle of interviews, so I had to squeeze that.
Yeah, we have to learn that process.
But it really, honestly, it really is true. It's literally,
yeah,
it's right here. It doesn't. I'm literally not very far away from their coffee ever.
Well,
are you a coffee drinker?
Then you have 2 brand new bags in there in the control room.
Are you a coffee drinker, Shane?
So I don't like anything hot, but I do like a good iced coffee.
Really?
Nick, so if you guys don't know, Nick is behind the brains of the operation right now. And we were literally having this conversation like an hour ago, how he doesn't enjoy hot things.
This
like
was
hot drinks.
Hot drinks.
I haven't heard it too much before.
But now it's 2 in
second time
1
2
day.
days that I've heard that. That's very
yeah,
interesting.
like I need not only cold drinks, but I need ice cold. Like really cold. Like I'll drink a cold can from the gas station or from Cledis or whatever,
Yeah.
but like if it sits for 10 minutes, then
You're like,
I'm,
it's too
I'm
bad.
probably done. Same thing with a bottle of water or something like that. I just need cold, like hot coffee, hot tea, hot anything. I'm just like, hot cocoa, hot
You've been
chocolate.
in too many hot kitchens to your body's done with that.
I don't know if it dates back to childhood. I don't recall ever drinking anything hot as a child, so like
Okay.
it just doesn't.
Do you drink iced coffee?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
And a good ice Cuban, that's my jam.
Well,
Nice.
I have a funny coffee story. So the other day I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and so like I'm like a Dunkin' reward member.
You're
thing.
a Dunkin' basic.
Yes, I am. I prefer Dunkin' over Starbucks all day, every day. But I was going there, and I ordered through the app. And so there's a brand new. They're remodeling all of the Dunkin' Donuts throughout Middle Tennessee right now. And I pull up through the drive-through, and then my name popped up on the screen at the drive-through. Before I
What?
even said anything, it said,
Like,
"Welcome to Dunkin', Stuart." And I'm like,
What?
This is Minority Report type stuff. And if you guys don't know what Minority Report is, it's a movie with Tom Cruise, and it's like this deep police state where they're preventing crimes. And he has to take out these fake eyes and put eyes from somebody else in. And he walks into the store, and they say, "How are your pants, Mr. Komodo?" or whatever the name is. And so I'm like, this is like Minority Report. Dude, it was
So Duncan scanned
weird.
your retinas when you pulled
they
in?
scanned my license plate. So I don't know what they did, but like
So
it literally.
you still don't know how they did it.
I have no idea. So I think it's maybe app. They're tracking on the app, and it's
Your
exactly
location?
your location to it.
That's
but like,
really precise.
I just literally pulled through the drive-through, and on the TV screen it said, "Welcome to Dunkin', Stewart." And I'm like, I wish I captured my reaction
What?
because it was pretty funny.
That's very interesting.
Speaking of reactions, Shane, you've been in the restaurant industry for a long time here in Nashville. What's one of your favorite, like, memorable moments that you've experienced here in town?
Food?
Food-wise, or celebrity-wise, or catering-wise?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, so I grew up as a child of the '80s, and grew up in a trailer. With me and my mom. And I remember when they got a CD player, like in 1986, it was a big thing, and they had 3 CDs. And my mom was a big country fan, and so it was Alabama, Randy Travis, and the Judds. And those
3 collection.
yeah, they echoed through that trailer or throughout it was like the soundtrack to my childhood.
Nice.
And so when Randy Travis walked into my restaurant with his wife and his family, I was like, oh my gosh.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah. And then what's really amazing is, I just started chit-chatting with them, and they became regulars over the last 3 or 4 years, and like developed a great relationship with them. And I'm in awe that like the power of food, is just one of those things where, there's been I've had the opportunity to meet lots of awesome people, but that one, because it was so connected to my childhood, I'm like, I knew every one of his songs. Even, I didn't even listen to country back then, but because it was such a staple.
Did you try singing it to him?
No, I'm not one of those. They get that a lot. They get that a lot. I'm not searching for a record deal, trying to slip in my demo or anything.
Behind flipping some burgers, and you're singing some Randy
just singing
Travis
while
to
you're-
Randy.
No, but they love good food, and since then we have visited multiple restaurants together, and we went out, and like I've got a lot of chef friends in town, so we went and visited the farmhouse. We went and visited Husk back when Katie Koss was there, and so we've had some wonderful dining experiences with them. So.
That's really cool. Kind of talking about your childhood, the Cledis goes back to your childhood. How does the name Cledis connect with the from your past?
So Cledis was my grandfather, and he literally lived right next door. So I talked about kind of growing up in the trailer. The trailer was parked in the garden behind Cledis'
Was it
house.
really?
Yeah. So, I tell my story all the time. My mom, had me when she was 17, so Cledis was my grandfather, and he wanted to give her a little bit of independence. So I think he just, put the trailer in the back so he could keep an eye on her and keep an eye on us. And, but yeah, just growing up there. But yeah, Cledis was he's a phenomenal human. He was kind. He was generous. He was the sweetest soul that I've ever known. And I just loved it. As a child, I was a little embarrassed about the name. Cledis kind of sounds like a country bumpkin, but whenever it came time to with the mission in mind and with what Cledis is and the purpose behind it, like it just made sense. And then there's just something about a Cledis burger that just sounds right.
It really
just sounds good. So
Comes off the tip of your tongue.
So yeah,
Cledis burger.
Named, and he also had a restaurant, for several years when I was a little guy. We've got some pictures. We're going to try to blow some up and put some in the restaurant of.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah, the Midway Cafe in Charlottesville, Indiana. Is about the same size as our dining room at Cledis, and farmers would come in the morning, and then they'd come back at lunch, and then they would close. So it was just kind of a breakfast lunch social spot for all the local farmers that come in and out of the fields, and it was a great little spot. And my greatest memories, from my childhood, were dropping. One of them was dropping quarters in the jukebox at the Midway Cafe. While the family was there, my mom was there working and just playing like Bob Seger and like those old classic 70s hits. And
I smell a country song coming on from
from
that story.
Co-write it for Randy Travis.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Shane, you've been in Nashville for quite a while. So what's some of your favorite like family-friendly attractions here in town, and like what's one of your go-to restaurants?
Okay,
besides your own.
But yeah, so the restaurant question I get asked a lot. There are so many places that I want to eat that have been on my list for years, but we get out so little, and I have so many friends in the industry. Like it's like, let's pop in and see Trey. Let's pop in and see Nina. Let's because it's been so long. So we end up going to our friends, Carrie Bringle's a good friend, Nina, Ty Sane, you've got Trey at Black Rabbit Farmhouse, and then, Nick and Audra down at, Pelican and Pig. So it's just, we try to go to, because we know it's going to be excellent. It's going to be good, but there's so many places I want to try. My gosh. And then probably our go-to, like if it's just a quick, Redheaded Strangers probably are, I mean, the tortillas and the queso, how
do you not go there and how do you go there and avoid the lines at Redheaded Stranger?
I mean, I don't know.
Sneak in the back?
No. I think you got to get there right at when they open. I don't know if it's 10:30 or 11, but typically we get there and we've never really had any. If you get there in the thick of it, right at noon, you're going to wait anywhere. That's it's good. So
it's very true. Very true.
All right, so now the family friendly attractions.
Okay, so we have. So if you've been in, you guys know this. When you live in Nashville, tons of family and friends from your life pop in and hey, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
What do you do? And it's it usually just depends on what's the age of the kids, that kind of thing. But I always try to. I love history, so I always try to send people down to Franklin to do all the Civil War, like the Carton Plantation and things like that. That was something that I really enjoyed. The Country Music Hall of Fame was really cool. The Studio B tour is specifically
that's my favorite.
Yeah, I love that, and I tell people go do that, but pay the extra. Take the tour to the Studio B and just listen. And again, I think it comes back to my love for history, just to hearing the stories and standing in the same room where Dolly and Johnny Cash and all these people stood. So those are some that come off the top of my head there.
Yeah, all three of those, the Carton, the Carter House. You need to take a Civil War tour with me. I have some things to show you, Shane.
Hey, let's do it. It's probably been about 4 or 5 years since I've done a good one.
So you need some good refreshers, and then we should also do a Nashville downtown history tour. I think you really will enjoy it.
Yeah, it's spooky. Do you do ghost tours?
I can do ghost tours. The subject matter of ghost tours, you could say the story, and then you're just okay, that's it.
Right.
Honestly, I think the best ghost story about downtown, because there's so many, because we've dug into this a ton. There are so many that are just not true.
Yeah.
That are being told there on the streets. So many that are just somebody heard a noise once and it developed into this just massive thing that's not true. The best one I don't know about you, Stuart. I think the best one is the Tennessee State Capitol.
Oh, the Tennessee State Capitol is fantastic. So then we'll talk about that here in a second. Then we also have the Hermitage. So there's one at the Hermitage. It's really good.
Oh, the Hermitage one I think is better than the Tennessee State Capitol.
There's another one though at Printers Alley.
Downtown is the best one I think for me. The Capitol.
The Capitol one downtown, but the Hermitage Hotel right next to the Capitol. So the downtown Nashville one is you have.
I thought you meant the Hermitage, like the Hermitage.
Oh no, I was talking about
that one.
hotel.
I like the one at the Hermitage.
So the Hermitage, Andrew Jackson's home. They have some good ghost stories there.
Yeah,
that one's good too. But the one downtown at the Tennessee State Capitol, you have a guy named William Strickland who was the architect building that building. That building was construction in 1845 to 1859, and he ended up dying during the construction of this building. He was buried in the northeastern cornerstone. And then they made another burial site at the Tennessee State Capitol because there's 4 people buried at the Tennessee State Capitol. There's another one buried in the southeastern cornerstone. And this was the state treasurer for the state of Tennessee. His name was Samuel Morgan. And there's actually historical documents of them arguing about the cost of the Tennessee State Capitol
while they were alive
inside of the Tennessee State Archives building while they were alive. And it's all of this documentation. So there's been numerous reports from officers that patrol that area at night that they hear these 2 old men bickering about the cost of the Tennessee State Capitol
in modern day.
Yeah.
Today's police.
That's one ghost story. And then just right across the way, and you're down there all the time for people living in Nashville. At the Hermitage Hotel, there's a room that's missing. Was it 313 something like that?
Yeah.
There's a room missing because there was a woman who died in that room. So they got rid of that room because that haunts. And then there's that mirror inside of the Hermitage Hotel that supposedly cracks and then heals itself. And that we've heard that story from probably 15 people over the last 3 years.
That's one of the harder ones to prove. Not the room. The mirror one is the room. Is a very interesting story. The Andrew Jackson's connection with the Bell Witch, I think, is Tennessee's best haunted story.
Well, there's that, but then over in East Tennessee, there's a haunted site that was an old burial ground. And they've built a property on this, and multiple people in this property have been murdered over the last 150 years. That one's really crazy.
Gosh, I'm so excited to get back to the haunted times and go see these stories again.
We're gonna. So there's a prison in East Tennessee called Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. This is where the guy who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. was imprisoned. They had multiple riots there. The guy that assassinated Martin Luther King Jr., he was stabbed at this prison 26 times. It's deep in the mountains. It's beautiful. But we're going to stay overnight and do a ghost hunt there sometime soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you're going to stay in
the prison.
Who's we?
Us.
You?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be amazing.
We have some ghost hunters that are coming with us, too.
Okay. I like it. With walking around with the radar things
and
and
infrared radar things. It's going to be terrifying.
You need to take Peter Venkman with you just in case.
Yeah. I went during the day, and it was scary during the day walking through solitary confinement. At night, it's going to be a whole different story.
Yeah. See, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I would do that. I'm not sure I would do that.
Yeah, so Shane, I think you should take a walking tour with me sometime. I think we'll have some fun.
I'd be down with that. If you can walk around with a beer and just learn.
Gosh,
but I'm not going to sleep in anything.
I wish that Nashville
had an open carry
parts had open carry like Louisiana does. But parts of me wishes that it does for times like that where you could just take a tour, grab a beer. And it would be just a great time.
So you can't do that in Nashville?
No, it's illegal.
But then Broadway, just the general nature of itself knows that would be a horrible idea.
Right. Yeah.
But for light activities, it'd be great.
Yeah. So we've done ghost tours, Savannah and Charleston both.
Yes.
And both those walking tours, you just walk around with a beer and nobody says anything. So it's a little different vibe than downtown Nashville.
Yeah.
You don't have the honky tonks and the crazy wild partiers. So
yeah. Shane, where could people follow Cledis on social media and also learn more about your menu and everything?
At Love Cledis on Instagram and Facebook as well. So yeah, that's where we post pretty much everything. And then we got an Instagram feed on our website at Cledis.com.
And then what's your favorite thing off of your Cledis menu right now?
Right now,
Mine's the Skippy Taille.
Yeah.
I love it on a bed of lettuce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I know when I'm in the kitchen cooking and I see the ticket, I'm like, well, there's Stuart's here.
Stuart's here. Yeah.
No, I mean, I ran the gauntlet, so I had to quit eating burgers because the first 2 months we were open, I was eating one like every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do this.
You just go down to Oscars.
No. So we have veggie patties, so I started forcing myself to eat veggie patties, and then
try those.
we have the chicken and the ham now, the chicken breasts. So I had transitioned over, but I ran the gamut through the menu, and I think the sleeper is the blueberry smash.
It's fantastic.
It's a super unique one that I really love. A lot of people stray from it because they don't like blue cheese, and they're like, oh, I don't like blue cheese. But they want to try it, but they don't want the blue cheese. But that's what makes the sandwich.
Is it the same strawberry jam that you use for the breakfast sandwich?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's bourbon strawberry jam.
It's so
So
good.
it's yeah. But I would say right now I'm probably my order at Cledis is probably going to be a double Oklahoma smash. Just keep it traditional.
Keep it nice and simple.
Yeah, and I've just become more of a traditionalist. I love to try the one-offs here and there, but there's a reason that the Cledis burger and the Oklahoma smash are our two best sellers. We have some fun, awesome stuff on the menu, but like most people gravitate towards traditional. You know, it's like if you got a barbecue joint, the pulled pork sandwich is always going to be number one, even though you've got a ton of great stuff on there. And it's also more budget content. You know, our burgers start at $7.99, so you can get an Oklahoma smash or a Cledis burger for $7.99. You know,
You can't beat that price.
Yeah, so we try to keep it at as low as cost as we can because we are a big lunch spot. It is a blue collar area, so we want to make it affordable to pop in and pop out. So.
Awesome. Well, Shane, thanks for joining episode 1,000.
Congratulations, guys. This
Thank
is
you.
awesome.
I think the last episode that you were on, I'm just throwing this out. Was it episode 35?
It was
or
somewhere
like
around there. It's
episode
like 35
41?
or 50 something or something like that. So
It's been almost
Okay.
1,000 episodes since you've been on the show.
Wow. Well,
And we did that at Honey Fire.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
we did it outdoor on the patio. I know exactly
Yeah,
where it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember recording that episode.
Yeah.
well, congratulations on 1,000. That's quite an accomplishment. You know why? Because of consistency. You know, whenever so many people have ambition to start something like this, but they waver out after because they realize how much work goes into it. But y'all not only stuck with it, but you knocked it out of the park. And congratulations.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Literally. We'll tell you the story
all of
afterwards.
those are a part of this.
But it's interesting because during the pandemic, everyone's like, I'm going to start a podcast about Nashville. And then everyone got 5 episodes in, and they're like, I'm not keeping this schedule. Of
It's
having
work.
podcasts
It's a
about
ton of
Nashville.
work.
It's a ton of work.
Yeah.
So, Nick, thank you for switching the cameras as well. And we'll hopefully get a camera on Nick so you guys can meet Nick sometime in the future.
Nick Cam. That would be
Nick,
awesome.
The Nick Cam.
Yeah, Nick Cam. Again, Shane, thank you for joining us. Love Cledis at Instagram. Go follow it. Go grab an amazing burger. Put a comment down in and see who would you like to be a guest for the rest of these next 1,000 episodes. And thanks for joining. Share this episode with your friends. We will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Nashville Daily Podcast. If you want to learn more, head to NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
You can also follow us on social media at explore.nash on Instagram, Nashville Daily Podcast on YouTube, and explore.nash on YouTube as well.
The Nashville Daily Podcast is an Explore LLC production, copyright 2023.